Well, well, well. If it isn't Marie Tuig, what are you doing here?
Tig Hickey, it's been a while. I'm on my way to Cork Discovers.
What? Is it not on here, no?
No, sure, Tig. They can't come to us, so we've to go to them instead.
But sure, how are we going to do that, Mairead?
Follow me and I'll show you.
Guys, you're late. Get into position. 3, 2, 1, action.
Hello! And a huge welcome to Cork Discovers 2020! I am, yeah, that's it, guys, a little clap. I'm Tig Hickey, and along with my friend here, Marie Tuig, we will be your hosts for today's amazing show.
We are so happy to be here. It wasn't looking too good there for a while, was it, Tig?
No.
You know, this pandemic thing, it's really raining on our parade. We're sick of hearing things being cancelled, they're being postponed. But you know why Cork Discovers wasn't cancelled?
No.
It's because research, it's so incredibly important.
Yes.
You know, it's probably the most important job that anyone has these days. And our job here today is to tell you all about the incredible research that is taking place here in Cork and beyond.
I think the Canadian is pretty important. Is it?
Yeah, sure, Tig.
I don't look enough about me. I'm just glad I bumped into Mairead up in UCC, because I would have been just wandering around up there wondering where everyone was.
The usual.
The usual. So everyone is at home these days, guys, but being at home doesn't mean that we can't have fun, or indeed that we can't learn.
Today's show, it's going to take you through the weird and wonderful world of research. We're going to showcase all the fabulous research. It's taking place in UCC, it's in CIT, DCU, UL, Trinity, there's Teagasc and Cork City Council. And you know what, just to let you all know that today's show, it's only a snapshot of lots of fantastic videos, interactive tools, workshops, interviews. They're all going to help you learn all about the world around you. And do you know where everything you see is today? It's up on corkdiscovers.org. It's not just a website we have, we're on social media too. We're down with them kids. We're on Facebook, it's at Cork Discovers. We're on Twitter, it's at Cork Discovers as well. And we're also on Instagram, it's Cork_Discovers. And you know, if you do post, don't forget to hashtag Cork Discovers, and you can also hashtag European Researchers Night. And you know what? There's a fabulous competition as well. It's on the website, and you could win some fantastic prizes.
Marie, that was class. That was a long bit there.
I know, after rushing in and everything. Bait. Oh.
Now, before we get started, we want to say a big thank you to all the researchers who worked so hard on creating wonderful video content and brought their research to life. Who knew researchers are film producers as well, Marie?
They're class, like.
I hadn't a clue anyway. So, well done, everyone. So, we are delighted to welcome our Lord Mayor of Cork City, Councillor Joe Kavanagh, who's going to open today's event.
Woohoo!
This significant annual event celebrates the role research plays in our city and in all our lives. As a UNESCO learning city, Cork always celebrates learning, and the most important element of learning is curiosity. And it is this curiosity about the world we live in and share that drives all research. Each year, the events hosted during Cork Discovers give people of all ages a unique opportunity to find out about and experience new discoveries being made right now in our city, and to meet the people who are making them, helping to change our lives for the better. This year is Cork Discovers' third year. Following the successes of previous years, it is supported again for 2020 by the European Commission, run online on this occasion from November the 26th to the 28th. The move to an online version of this event is one of many new learnings we all have from 2020 in response to the global pandemic that brings the work of researchers over many years into our daily lives in new ways. I want to acknowledge all the partners involved, led by UCC, with CIT Blackrock Castle Observatory, Teagasc, the British Council and ourselves in Cork City Council working with our Learning City partners. As first citizen of our city, I want to encourage all citizens to get curious and engage with the fascinating range of subjects being explored.
Thanks very much, Lord Mayor.
Nice
Thanks
job.
a million. Take care. So we're now going to hear from the interim president of University College Cork, John O'Halloran.
Nice.
Now, John tells us research. It's all about learning and discovering new and interesting things. There's research on bees, hip-hop music, and even the moon.
Go on.
So welcome everybody, welcome to Cork Discovers, a really exciting opportunity to learn about research. Research that's funded by the European Commission, but also more generally across the institution. I know you're looking at me and saying, what is research? Actually, research is about discovery. It's about learning. It's about finding out new and interesting things. I have had the privilege for the last 20 years of chairing the BT Young Scientist Biology Committee, and it's amazing to see amazing young talent. There's two parts to that talent. One is the ones that we all see on television, but there's another small group, which is the primary science talent, where people are going in and making things. There's big bangs, there's smoke, but actually there's some really interesting ideas being developed by young people just like you. In UCC, we have amazing research going on. Our scientists have to compete globally to fund that because it costs money sometimes to do research. And in many cases, we have to raise millions of euros of money to do that. Our scientists have been really lucky and capable of doing that, whether it's in food, in microbiome, as we call it, the bacteria that live in your gut, whether it's the plastic in the ocean, whether it's hip-hop music. My son is a musician, he's in Los Angeles currently, he's a UCC graduate, and he just loves hip-hop music, and that's his life. My own work as a zoologist, we worked on bees that sting you, and how we can monitor those bees and see how they can influence our lives. Looking at the sky, even if you go out tonight and hopefully the clouds aren't there, just have a look up at the sky, have a look at the moon. Just think of the amazing work going on at University College Cork. We'd normally be able to ask you to come onto the campus and share all this excitement. But look, you don't have to do that. You can listen here to what's happening. But when all of this passes, we hope that you will come and visit us at University College Cork. Last year, over 3,000 people visit our campuses. You're always welcome when it's safe to do so. So visit corkdiscover.org to find out more and discover how Cork-based researchers are changing the world. You too can change the world, so get out there and do it.
No, Mairead, I'm not a flag expert, but I think that's the flag of Munster.
Tig, I think you might need to go back to flag school.
Okay, could be the EU. You know, Mairead, I think we're actually going to learn an awful lot here today.
I think so.
Because I thought researchers worked in science labs and did big bang experiments, but it really is about making positive changes in our world. And now, more than ever, do we understand that we are living in a changing world, Mairead?
You know, speaking of hip-hop there, Tig, you know, let's head over to Watergrass Hill National School. They're going to tell us the story about the EU in a very clever and innovative way.
Class!
The big bus going to the European Union. Now this is the story all about how non-profit turned upside down. And we like it, made just shit like it, but how the EU came to be here. On the continent of Europe 8 years ago. On the battlefield, that's where I spend most of our days. Arguing, fighting, stealing, on the street, killing each other all over the place. When a couple of states who were up some good, setting making plans for the neighborhood, made one big deal and decided to be nice. They shared for each other whenever they could. They talked about travel and trade and lots of things. They made their decisions without anything. Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Iceland, Belgium, Luxembourg, all took the dance. The years rolled past, more countries should have joined. They wanted to take part and sing out the joy. Hot ones, cold ones, ones with lots of green, rich ones, poor ones, and everything in between. In 2020, the UK will leave, but with freedom of movement, there won't be a heat. Although it's not perfect, it's hard not to brag. With 28 countries under one flag.
Yo, Mairead. I like research, I like to learn. Knowledge is what I yearn. Experiments and all that stuff. All right, my rapping is a little bit rough, oh yeah.
Hey, Tig.
Yeah?
You gotta know, we're not New York, we're here in County Cork. I was sitting over on my perch listening to all this research. It's all for the kids, all these riveting vids. Ooh.
I feel I've let myself down, but that was sensational, Mairead.
I'll give you some lessons.
Yo! That was fantastic. I think I learned more about the EU from the boys and girls. I mean, I thought that flag was Munster, like. I learned more from those boys and girls in Watergrass Hill than anyone else. I had no idea there were 28 countries in the EU. Did you?
I know now.
I just hope we get to go on our holidays to some of those lovely hot countries eventually, Mairead, and eat croissants for breakfast, have ice cream at least twice a day. Because Ireland's great now and all that, Mairead, but like, I could do with a bit more vitamin D.
You know, Tig, it's a lot more than vitamin D you need.
Harsh.
So, we haven't been able to leave our homes or even our neighbourhoods lately, but, you know, we've been spending a lot of time playing together. We've got 2 researchers from UCC. I think you might help me with their names.
Helen and Alice?
Ah, that's it. So, you know, they've discovered that adults don't really know a whole lot about play. But you know who does know a lot about play? Yeah, you got it. It's you guys.
You guys.
So, you know, let's see what they discovered.
Hi, I'm Helen and this is Alice, and we love to research play. We would like to tell you a story about research. Once upon a time, there were some researchers in UCC who thought they knew a lot about play. After all, they remembered what they loved to play when they were small a long time ago. They thought plays about colouring, building blocks, riding a bike, and play was for all children. Now that they were adults, they also thought play was about showing your child what to do and how to play. But one day they saw a child doing this and they wondered, what kind of play is this? They asked other researchers, but nobody knew. No one knew what to call this kind of play. Oh no, what were they going to do? Then they had a brainwave. Ask the children. So they asked lots of children to see if they had an answer. The children told the researchers that play includes lots of different things that the researchers had not even thought about. There was stamping on the ground play, playing circles in the rain play, hanging out play, playing with my dog play, and sometimes children even showed the adults how to play too. Above all, children told the researchers that play was fun and made them feel good. But then, children said, sometimes playgrounds that adults built are not much fun, and not for all children either. So they thought hard and explained to the researchers how playgrounds could be more fun. In the end, the researchers found out that adults do not really know enough about play at all, and we need help from children to learn about play because, after all, children are the experts. The end. For more information on our research with children and how it is informing playground design, check out Alice Moore, Irish Research Council Scholar, and Helen Lynch, Horizon 2020 Play Researcher.
Oh, 2001, 2003, 2004, 2005. Oh, yeah. On the topic of play, let's have a look at the games we play, Mairead. 2013.
Hello, my name is Martin O'Donoghue, and together with a group of people, I work with an organisation called Let's Play Cork.
Over the last 2 years, Martin and his team have been working with 6 other European cities, learning how play can be used in a serious way to make our city a greener, healthier and more fun place to live. During this time, they learned about what other cities are doing to incorporate games and fun into areas and places where you wouldn't normally expect them. For example, in France, many cities have toy libraries. In Cork, we don't have any toy libraries, but next year, with the 10 libraries of Cork City, they will start a toy collection. So in addition to borrowing books, you can get games and Lego, and there will also be play bags that your community can use to host an event. This summer, when none of us could go to playgrounds, Martin and his team put together play packs so that families could still play together at home. Imagine turning your back garden into a lava field with a super fun video and some chalk. There are loads of other magically fun videos on the Let's Play Cork YouTube channel. Another video here shows how you can make your own mini theatre. You can cast your favourite toys and teddies and make your own at-home pantomime. Next year there will be a whole series of play events and Let's Play Cork want you to join in. Until then, Martin and his team will be putting together a play pack for older adults. So if you've any ideas for games and activities that your granny or granddad would like to play, make sure to get in touch at info@letsplaycork.ie. Together we can make Cork the most fun city to live and work in.
Next, we are going to hear what I think is a bit of a sad tale about Keith D. Keffer. Am I pronouncing that right, guys? Who got... Oh, it must be.
Yeah, you're fine.
Who got a bit... I can't believe I've done it right.
What?
Who got a bit lost. Keith the Keffer, he got a bit lost, guys. Also, if any of the mums and dads want to hear more about Keffer, or Kefir, and fermentation, Blind Boy met up with Ted Dinan and John Cryan last night, and they talked all about this very topic. The podcast is available on corkdiscovers.org.
Once upon a time, there was a small kefir grain called Keith. He used to ferment milk to make kefir. But one day he got lost. He got left in the strainer and not put back in the milk. He looked all around him, inside the cupboards, over by the flowers, inside the drawers, but he couldn't find milk. The night drew in and Keith didn't know what to do. Finally, he opened the fridge and saw what he had been looking for. Milk. He was so happy he could ferment again. If you would like to learn more about friendly microbes like Keith, visit us at Microbe Magic.
Excited, Mairead?
Thanks, Tig. So now that we've learned all about kefir, let's have a taste of it.
Yum.
I'm really excited.
Drum roll, thank you.
Oh, I feel healthier already. After that nourishing drink of kefir, I'd actually recommend it. I was quite nervous about this.
I thought you were going to hate it.
No, it's actually grand. Now I mightn't finish it, but... So we aren't just finished with the microbiome just yet. Did you know that microbes are absolutely everywhere? They live all around you, they live on you, and inside you. You know, you can't see them though. Even if you squint really hard, some aren't too good for us and they can make us feel quite sick, but most of them, they help us to fight disease. So, Tig, microbiomes, you can divide them into 4 groups, okay? So you've got bacteria,
Boom.
you got viruses, we know a lot about that one, and you've got fungi and parasites. So the next video is going to show us how to make our own magical microbe teller, you know, instead of your fortune. Who wants to find out if they're going to marry a prince anyway?
Think you need a microscope to explore the wonderful world of microbes? Think again. All you need is some paper and the magical power of origami to make your own microbe teller. A microbe teller is like a paper fortune teller, but tells you everything you ever wanted to know about microbes. First, pick a type of microbe, like bacteria. Then pick a question and lift the lid to reveal the answer. You can download your own microbe teller template from the APC Microbiome Ireland website. Print it out, follow the folding instructions, and start asking your own questions about microbes today.
Remember these things? Mairead?
Yeah, they're class, aren't they?
Bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and viruses.
Will I have a go?
Yeah.
So there's a question here in my one. So every human has a different set of microbes. Is it true or false?
Ooh. True.
Correct.
Yes!
Well done, Tig.
Unreal.
Nice one.
I think that is something that you should ask your teachers to make up in school, guys. Next up is something you can make at home with some help from a grown-up. Do you know what it is, Mairead?
Go on, tell me.
Yogurt.
Oh, yum.
I think this shows us that you don't need fancy science kits to do experiments at home.
Cool.
Ba-dum-bum-bum. Incoming, here we go.
Come on, in you go.
Pouring. Unbelievable.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I'm going to stir. Stir.
Want a few straws?
Straw, go for it. Straws. I love a few strawberries. It's like bibbidi bobbidi boo. Whoa, Ty!
Don't try this at home, kids. Do not try this at home. Cooking's dangerous.
We're just going to have to stick with the natural yogurt because Ty can't keep a straw. Don't splash my dress, it's new.
Actually, do try this at home. It's a laugh.
And we're going to be selling this, make sure you buy it. Shop local and all that, it's so important. Okay,
Here's one that I prepared earlier.
I'm just going to let the yogurt away there for a while, Yogurt on. So, Tig, next up, we're going to learn about bubbles. Yeah, you heard me right. Bubbles are indeed research.
Okay, so when we finish the experiment, I'm going to talk about the science behind formation of bubbles, soapy bubbles, and the colors that we see at the surface of these bubbles. So what else do we need to form big bubbles? We need to
blow on it.
Blow some air into the container. Come on, guys. Let's see. Here are the bubbles forming, guys. Very good. Look at these bubbles. Okay. And if you look carefully at specific angles, you see that some beautiful rainbow colors appearing at the surface of the bubbles.
I see some reflecting off.
Yeah. Look at these beautiful colors. So why do we see colors? Can somebody explain? Yes, James and Bloody.
Because when some light bounces off it, you can see that it's more mirror-like.
Yeah.
So then you can see tiny bits of color on the edges there.
Yeah, on the surface. Yeah. So imagine that is our bubble right here. So the air inside the bubble and the air outside the bubble. That is the surface of the bubble, and we form a very thin layer known as the membrane at the surface between the air and the air inside. Okay. So at that surface we have some of the soap forming a thin layer, as I said. And by the way, this is the structure of the form of the soap molecules. They are known as surfactant type of molecules. So they look really like worms. If you have a very, very powerful microscope, you could actually see these molecules in some way. And you'd see that there is a head that is polar and a tail that is non-polar. So the non-polar tails stick together and the non-polar heads stick together, forming a continuous layer at the surface of the bubble. So when we have this continuous layer, the bubble is as stable as that, and you could pour the bubble, you could put more air into the bubble, and it will only grow
Until it pops.
until it pops, yeah. But look at these colors. Look, the light coming from the sun, it reflects, or it is refracted, by the way, at the surface of the bubble, and then we disperse the light into its constituent colors, and that will be all the rainbow colors that you see at the surface.
Go on, Mairead. Go on, Mairead. Go on. Mairead's forever blowing bubbles. All right, Mairead, calm down now. You're going to wreck the studio, Mairead.
Isn't that class, though? That's something you could be proud of. Look.
That is class. I tell you one thing, right? That was a super experiment from the guys. And you know what I loved about it? The kids were using paper straws, Mairead. Did you spot that? Your head is gone and
Sorry,
you're in bubbles.
I'm in bubble land.
The kids were using paper straws, no more plastic straws, which we all know are really bad for the environment. Thanks to Kappa for that video, and check out cork.discovers.org for more videos like this. Before you watch this next video, will you please get out your markers, right? But not permanent ones, because this is something that you can do at home.
Our brain receives information from different parts of our body. It is the brain that informs us if we touch something fluffy, soft, or rough. Our brain, however, is not equally generous for every part of our body. That means that it receives much more data from some parts than from others. How do we know that? Let's do an experiment. Ask your friend, sibling, mom or dad to draw something on your back and draw what you felt. Then ask him or her to draw something on your palm. How did you do? My brain did much better in recognizing drawings on my palm than on my back. It is because my palm sends much more data to the brain than my back. You can also repeat this experiment in other parts of your body and check how well you can guess what is being drawn on your skin. Have fun!
Now, we have come to what I would say is probably my favourite part of the day. Mairead and I are now going to give that a go, socially distanced, of course.
Excellent.
I am going to write a number on Mairead's back, and she has to guess what that number is.
There's no, like, pen now, like the...
There's no pen, and there's no clues. Can you face this way, please, my friend?
Okay. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Okay.
Mairead, what do you reckon?
T?
It was a T. It was a T. You've rumbled me.
There was kind of like a dot, though.
There was a dot at the end. It's a T and a full stop. It's kind of my name. So.
Well done,
Well done, Mairead.
Ow! Thanks so much. Tig, what do you think about the whole vegetable and candy debate? Like, are fruit and vegetables really that much better for you? Could we not just eat green-coloured candy instead? Like, surely that works. Like, why do parents want us to eat all this healthy food? What's so great about it, really? Like, let's see what the scientists have to say about this one.
Hey kids, we are getting close to the festive season. I don't know about you, but my favorite part about the festive season is candy. I love candy so much that for the longest time, I refused to eat anything remotely healthy, especially greens. And my parents were furious at me. They'd say, "No eating candy until you've eaten your green vegetables and your fruits." I mean, what's so great about fruits and vegetables anyways? They don't taste that good. So what's the point? I decided to investigate. And who better to ask than a scientist? Hello there. My name is Dr. Namrata, and I am happy to confirm that yes, fruits and vegetables are really good for you. They contain vitamins and minerals, and a big part of their nutrition is locked into these large carbohydrate molecules called fibers. Did you know that your body can't actually digest fibers? Why, even a cow that eats greens for a living, even their bodies can't digest fibers. Cool, right? What? If I can't even digest these fibers, then what have I been eating all this broccoli and kale for all this time? Have parents around the world been pulling a fast one on their kids this whole time? And someone's got to tell those poor cows. Now, hold your horses and cows. There's no need to panic. You see, even though your body can't break down fibers, you're forgetting about 1 trillion or so microbes that are happily living in your gut. You may not like your fibers, but to the microbes in your gut, fibers are an absolute feast. Just like each one of us has our favorite candy, each type of microbe has its favorite fiber. From broccoli to kale to apples and carrots, the microbes love it all. But why should I eat broccoli and kale? Just for these tiny microbes that I can't even see? What's in it for me? Interesting question. You see, when microbes break down fibers, they don't just generate fuel for their own growth. They make sure you get extra energy with every meal you eat. Along the way, they make beneficial compounds that boost your immune system and help keep you healthy. Scientists like me at UCC and Trinity College Dublin are working hard to find all the different compounds microbes make that help boost your health. So take one for the team and listen to your parents and your microbes. Eat your fruits and vegetables. Okay, but can I get my candy after I've eaten my veggies? You have a deal.
Ray, you should really be eating something a bit healthier than that.
Are you eating raw broccoli, is it?
No, it's a different colour broccoli.
What? No, there's something in your mouth, like.
No, definitely not. I think what they're saying, Ray, is that we just won't have enough energy to do all the things we want to do, like play with our friends and run around. I think we're going to have to eat more fruit and vegetables, but you know what? Everything in moderation. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
There's some healthy stuff and some not so healthy stuff. That sounds fair enough to me.
Yeah, fair enough.
I cannot believe that there are over 1 trillion microbes in my gut. 1 trillion, like, that's loads.
That's massive. So now we know how to get the energy into our bodies. Why don't we try and burn some of this energy off? Come on, everyone, up off the couch. Let's do this together.
At Surf the Curve Youth Athletic Development, our passion is helping children enhance their athletic abilities through fun and games. So if you're fed up of sitting around all day, then stand up now and let's get started with 20 seconds of marching. Now let's try some jumping jacks. Just a few more seconds, and in 3, 2, 1. Now you can take a break and have a listen to STC coach Roisin.
So here we have a model of the cardiovascular system. When we breathe in, the air will run down to our lungs here. And we'll also notice that the heart is in between our lungs.
Okay, it's time for some more. Let's do some squats. And in 3, 2, 1. Well done, guys.
So the last exercise that you did was a squat. There are 3 main muscles that we use when we're carrying out a squat. These are the glutes, which are back here, the hamstrings below, and then the quad muscles, which are located at the front.
You can learn more about Surf the Curve athletic development through their Facebook page.
Tadhg, I think I finally got the squat in the end.
Yeah, I'm after working off all the broccoli now, I think.
Broccoli, haha. So, we've eaten healthily, well, some of us have. We've done our exercise, and the next video shows us how to get our house into ship shape. Act for Eco, it's a website that looks at energy consumption in the home and what we can change to reduce the energy consumption at home. You can check out actforeco.eu for more information.
Cool.
Welcome to Act for Eco. We want to take you on our family journey to energy conservation. At the beginning, our family are enjoying home comforts. A challenge is set for our family. Our family is taken aback, but the light emerges. Mum and Dad are relaxing after a long day. The TV is on and warm drinks are in hand. It's so nice to relax in front of the TV with a hot drink, says Mum. Meanwhile, the children are playing their online games. Good game, they shout. Later, the daughter says, Mum, we have a school project to look at how much electricity we use at home. That's great, says Mum. How can we help? A week later, the family have got involved and they have recorded how much electricity they have used. At the end of the week, the family is shocked. What can we do to make a change? Look at how much electricity we are using, says Dad. Later, Dad comes across the Act for Eco platform, a new e-learning site with top tips on how to save energy in the home. Yes, there are green ways to generate and use energy, he says. Look at this, we can make a change at home. Act for Eco will help us to reduce our carbon footprint. So why not join us and create your own family journey? Go to Act for Eco and see what you can discover.
Actually, Mairead, I think this might be my favourite, but actually... Yeah,
go on.
Scrap the last bit.
Right.
Guys, we're so sorry that we couldn't invite you to our beautiful campus in UCC. But did you know that UCC has sometimes been referred to as the Hogwarts of the South?
That is epic.
So, we met up with some people from the UCC Harry Potter Society and got them to show us around the university campus.
Class.
A big welcome to University College Cork. UCC is a world-class teaching and research-led university, a place full of knowledge and wonder. This building is the main quadrangle. Many people think that the quadrangle building looks like Hogwarts, a building full of magic. In UCC, all of our buildings are filled with magic, and the wands or tools that we use to conduct this magic is research. Just outside the door of UCC Visitor Centre is our wonderful collection of Ogham stones. These stones once stood in the many fields and mountainsides in the south of Ireland and have been brought here to UCC so that more people can see them. The stones are approximately 1500 to 2000 years old, and they are called Ogham stones because they contain the Celtic alphabet of Ogham. Ogham is an ancient alphabet made up of 25 letters that was inspired by Ogma, the Celtic god of eloquence. Ogham was carved from and read from the bottom left of the stone. In front of our main quadrangle building is the grass area known as the quad. It is divided into 4 square sections with a gravel pathway running horizontally and vertically through the middle. This pathway has led to the creation of the most popular urban myth in the college today. After their conferrings, graduating students in their graduation gowns and hats would proceed onto the quad and march down the pathway in the middle. Marching through the quad symbolically marked the transition from students' lives to the next phase of their post-college life. However, over the last 60 years or so, many students began to believe that walking in a straight line through the quad before graduation would lead to bad luck, such as failing exams. Most students now try and avoid walking through the quad so as to not tempt fate. We are now at the bust of George Boole. George Boole was one of our university's most famous scientists and researchers. George Boole became the first professor of mathematics of UCC in 1849. Boole devised a type of code called Boolean logic, which was later used in the foundation of computer science. Your mobile phone, your computer, your iPad, and even your Xbox all require the application of Boolean logic. Boolean logic that was devised here at University College Cork. Boole was a real-life mathematical wizard, and as far as we are concerned, Boole is cool. Funnily enough, the bust has led to a new superstition among students who now believe that rubbing the statue's nose gives them good luck before their exams. The nose on the statue has begun to wear away as a result, an occurrence that would no doubt amuse George Boole himself. We hope that you have enjoyed a little look at a few of the many things that there are here to see at UCC, a place full of research, magic, and discovery.
Gryffindor.
Expelliarmus! You know, Ty, I never knew that's why you can't walk on the grass in the quad. And I kind of feel a bit sorry for Professor Boole's nose.
Yeah.
It would have been rubbed clean off if I was doing exams. I always studied very hard. You know, just to remind you all at home, you can follow us on social media. We're on Facebook. It's at Cork Discovers.
Yep.
The same on Twitter, at Cork Discovers. And on Instagram, it's Cork_Discovers. And you know, if you are posting today or any day, don't forget to hashtag Cork Discovers and hashtag European Research Night.
Nice, very nice. I will be the first to admit that I'm not a man for doing it yourself experiments, Mairead.
Okay.
I think you kind of know that about me now at this stage. But when I saw a clip of this video, I was blown away. I tried it, and I can confirm you do not need to be a fully qualified scientist to do this, guys.
Ooh.
In fact, newsreaders, yeah, and the much-loved comedians of the country.
Sorry, you forgot the much love for...
Yeah, just back to me. Even we can do it. Isn't that right, Mairead?
Pew.
Pew.
Nothing is more futuristic than a hologram like this. We are 2 PhD candidates at UCC and we will show you how to make your own hologram using the materials you have at your home.
All you need is scissors, clear tape, smartphone and a piece of clear plastic like you would find in packaging or many office supplies like document separators. It is important that the plastic is clear and not too soft.
Draw a rhombus on the plastic. First, draw the longest side with a length of 6 centimeters. Then, from the middle of this line, mark another point at a distance of 3.5 centimeters and draw a line of half a centimeter on either sides of this middle point. Now, connect the sides and mark the edges of the rhombus. Carefully cut along these edges to get a plastic rhombus. Repeat this process 3 more times using the first rhombus as a reference. Tape all 4 rhombuses together to form a pyramid like this. All we need now to turn this into a hologram projector is a video on your smartphone.
Search for holographic video on YouTube and select a video which shows 4 views of the same object or scene.
Start the video in full screen mode and place the hologram projector at the center of the screen. Dim the lights and look at the projector from one of its sides.
A hologram is basically a result of an optical illusion that shows the amazing properties of light. When the light from the phone screen hits the surface of plastic, three phenomena can happen, namely absorption, reflection, and refraction. Since the plastic that we chose is transparent or clear, there is little to no absorption and most of light is transmitted through the plastic. Some light that is reflected creates the illusion that the object is floating in air.
It is amazing that we can make a fascinating optical illusion in the form of a hologram from scrap plastic at home.
Yay!
Tyke, that was
class.
Epic. Like, that really just shows us what we can do at home with just a bit of plastic.
Yeah.
And you know, any secondary school students out there, you can tell your teachers about this one. You will be allowed to use your smartphone in the classroom, I think. You know what? Tell them Tyke and Ray told you you can do it and it'll be great.
Yeah, just tell them that.
It'll be fine.
We just saw how you can make a holograph, but now let's see if we can learn how to make a robot.
Oh, robot.
A collaborative robot, to be exact. This video shows that the robot can learn to imitate tasks. I wonder, would it do my hoovering at home, right?
It's not like you do it anyway.
Exactly. Or would it even do the guys' homework?
Ah, that'd be class.
Do you think your teachers would realise that you had a robot doing your homework?
Never.
This is Hedia. When she was a child, she wished she had a helpful friend that she could play with, draw with, and help her to do her homework. And so one day she started building robots. In high school and university, she got interested in electronics and robotics. And now she is doing a PhD in industrial robots. The robots that she works with are able to learn from observing or watching a task that is performed by a human or another robot. They can then repeat the task. Here's a look at Hedia's robots. She calls them Cobot, short for collaborative robot. While conventional robots are not safe for people to work with, these collaborative robots are. And these intelligent robots could be faster, smarter, and more cost-effective. Hedia's project aims to create a smart robot that has the ability to imitate. Imitating robots can learn tasks from teachers using different artificial intelligence or AI training methods. The more the trainer repeats the task, the more the robots can learn. Hedia is optimistic about the future of robotics and the impact that these robots will have on human life.
Tyke, what do you think of my robot dance?
I think it's kind of nearly as good as mine.
Oh, you're a class. Well done. This is fun.
This is your favourite bit now, isn't it? You're talking about this all day.
It's laser time. So we borrowed some lasers, right, from the set of Star Wars. Do you know, they were filming there in Skellig Mike. That was class day, actually, wasn't it?
Great day.
So we headed off to Kerry, and they were just left, like, all over the place. Can you believe that? Like, but
classic Kerry, like.
It's the usual. But you know, lasers, they're in so many things, Tyke. And scientist Hu Wang is going to show us how these lasers are made literally up the road in the Tyndall Institute. Would you believe it? Like, so we also want to remind you all again, everything you're seeing here this morning, it's on our website. It's corkdiscovers.org.
Maybe you came across lasers in Star Wars for the first time. But actually, lasers are around us all the time. The barcode scanner in the supermarket, the old CD player, car headlamps, virtual reality gaming headsets, laser blaster games, printers in the office, laser projectors in the meeting room, laser hair removal, lighting in the concert, and not to mention that it's the origin for you to get access to the internet. So now you may wonder, what is a laser? A laser needs at least 3 components. First is the gain medium inside to amplify the light. Then some extra pump energy, like electricity. Then 2 mirrors, one to reflect the light back and one to get the light out. The 2 most important properties of a laser are high power and single direction. This is Dr. Hu Wang. She is a research scientist at Irish Photonics Integration Centre, or IPIC, based in Tyndall National Institute here in Cork. IPIC has 4 different themes, spanning areas from photonics theory right through to materials, devices, systems and applications. Now Hu will show you how a laser is made in IPIC. In the integration theme, where Hu is, the research starts from how light is generated in theory, how to grow materials, how to make a laser in a clean room called fabrication, and how to integrate lasers and other devices together to do something.
So this is a laser chip we made. Each of these teeny tiny space are about 10 to 15 lasers.
Of course, this is way too small to use normally, so they need the packaging theme to help them put these tiny devices in a way that's easy to handle. Then the biophotonics or communication themes will utilise these devices in various applications. For more information about the research at IPIC and other technical details, please visit ipic.ie and check out their YouTube channel.
Luke, I am your father.
It's kind of hard to do at social distance, but Now, lots of you might be thinking, what would I like to be when I grow up? I know it's something that I think about a lot, Mairead.
Yeah, you've a bit of time yet,
Yeah, or the hero you look up to. So we asked some researchers, who did they admire or look up to when they were younger? And we got some fairly interesting answers.
Have you ever wondered how scientists become scientists? We all have heroes growing up, people who have inspired and influenced us to be who we are today. Science heroes can be anybody from ancient philosophers to your teacher in school. Researchers related to the Irish Photonic Integration Centre and Tyndall National Institute share their science heroes growing up and how they have influenced them to become scientists today.
My science hero growing up was Galileo Galilei, who have always been of great inspiration to me. In particular, his life motivated me to think outside the box, to push myself beyond my limits, and above all to be curious, which is an essential aspect not only in scientific research, but more importantly in life.
My childhood science hero was my junior cert science teacher, Mr. Moriarty. He really helped me to develop a passion for science and made me feel like I could really be a scientist. And without his encouragement, I wouldn't have chosen the path that led me to the research that I do today.
My science hero growing up was Hua Lugan, one of the most renowned and impactful mathematicians in China, who also devoted to the development and education in China. Just like many other science heroes during their childhood, he dropped out from high school and was helping in his father's grocery shop because his family could not afford the tuition fees. However, he finished his study himself behind the cashier and started to publish his research since the age of 19. His life excited me, as well as my curiosity in science and math.
My science hero growing up was a staff member called Mr. Orr, who worked at a youth organisation I attended in high school. He made physics and engineering seem accessible and showed me how it helped understand the world around me. They were one of the key reasons that I found a love of aviation, which eventually led me to studying for a PhD in physics.
My growing up science hero was my teacher in secondary school. Mrs. Mele is her name. She taught me to be curious and to understand the why of things. And since then, I never stopped to love science. She was my inspiration that led me to my current role today.
My hero, scientific hero undoubtedly, was my 85-year-old maths teacher when I was doing the Leaving Cert. He had only become a maths teacher aged 65, having retired from running the farm in the college, Prior to that, he had run the Jesuit novitiate in Dublin. But prior to that, again, in the 1920s, 100 years ago, he did a research degree in Cambridge with J.J. Thomson, trying to understand the properties of the electron. So he'd taken from that point all the way through to becoming my maths teacher. And I'm very pleased to say that through him, I can claim a direct connection to the person who was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1906 for the discovery of the electron.
We want to know who your science hero is. Share your science hero with Cork Discovers on our Twitter or Instagram page using the hashtag #NotAllScientists_wear-glasses. Learn more about famous Irish physicists and engineers by taking our quiz on www.corkdiscovers.org.
Loved that bit.
That was class. Who was your hero growing up, Marie?
I suppose, a lot of family heroes, all my family were heroes, but on a professional level, because I work in journalism and in news, I don't know if you know RTE's, is it Washington correspondent Brian O'Donovan?
O'Donovan? Jeez, if only there was someone here that could do an impression of him, that'd be class.
Oh.
Brian O'Donovan, having a right laugh in VE Studios. Join us at corkdiscovers.org.
Hero.
I would have to say my hero was Michelangelo from the Turtles.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, he loved his pizza. He was just not taking life too seriously. Yeah, big shout out to Michelangelo if you're watching. Thanks for everything, mate.
I can't do an impression of him, so I'm just gonna have to. Move on. Did you see there, Owen O'Reilly as well? That really stood out.
Yes.
His maths teacher became a teacher when he was 65. There's time for us yet, I tell you that much. But now we're going to move from maths to baking. I love baking. And did you know that you can bake in space?
What?
Yeah.
Where do we start our journey, Andrew?
Well, Niamh, all journeys have to start here on Earth. Being on Earth at the moment is a little bit weird. We're in versions of lockdown. Have we actually been doing a bit of astronaut training without realising it?
I think the real thing is that business about living together. It's about being tolerant.
Look at those. Those are my little shortbreads.
And you could make these in space. Why not?
That's fantastic.
They're fiery. They are indeed fiery.
Why have we been baking so much during lockdown?
We don't have any hard data on whether that many more people took up baking during lockdown.
What would happen if we were 520 days in isolation?
So Mars 100 was a scientific experiment that was simulating a return trip to Mars.
Predominantly, we're looking at the moon, so looking into how we can sustainably work and live on the lunar surface.
We've got our molten marshmallows and butter there, and you can think of those like the glue that's going to hold our moon base together. Take it out of the fridge a few hours later, and you'll see there it is. We've put the full recipe for this in the ARC recipe booklet, so we'd love to see your attempts at home with hashtag baking in space.
So 3D printing has a lot of applications in space, and there's a lot of research going on into 3D printing.
And so far, we've been looking at processed cheese and milk-based ingredients.
And all this is to say the future of space is incredibly exciting. But ultimately, whilst we have incredible technology and the science to take us to orbit and to the moon, it doesn't mean anything unless we take care of our home here on Earth. Thanks to all our fantastic guests.
Bye!
It's like a fashion show, Marie.
Look at you. It suits you, I can tell you.
Thank you.
Suits you.
Guys, we are staying in space for a while, and we're going to find out what the universe is made of and why the periodic table is so cool and so important.
Hi, my name is Orla Lynch. I'm a researcher in the School of Chemistry in UCC, and I study organic chemistry. When I was younger, I was very curious about the world around me. In school, my favourite subjects were chemistry and physics, and in college, I loved studying organic chemistry. This led me to my career in research. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about why the periodic table of elements is so cool and important. The periodic table is like a big list of ingredients that everything in the world is made up of. The table is made up of different elements that are grouped together based on their different properties. These properties are chemical and physical properties that I won't go into just now because that'll take a little bit longer to explain. Each element has its own unique symbol so that we don't get mixed up when we're talking about them. Everything we see is made up of a mixture of these elements, and there can be different amounts of the elements as well in everything. I have some balls here that represent some of the most common elements, such as hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. You might have heard of water being called H2O. That's because it's made up of 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. I can stick 2 of my hydrogens onto an oxygen, and now I've made 1 water molecule. In real life, we can't see these because they're so tiny. Water itself is made up of millions of these together. Taking the same 2 elements, hydrogen and oxygen, will put them together in a different way to make something completely different. If I take another oxygen and put my elements together this way, I can make hydrogen peroxide, which can be used to clean cuts and scrapes and used in some hair dyes. Everything in the universe is made up of molecules like these, which are formed from elements in the table. I hope you enjoyed your demonstration today. Go to corkdiscovers.org to see the periodic table and to partake in our activity sheet.
You know, Tig, I finally know now where the hair dye comes from. Not that I use it at all. I am real blonde, you know.
Of course, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're very lucky here in Cork that we have Blackrock Castle Observatory. It's only over the road, right? The team there, they've put together an incredible amount of resources. It's all about space and our galaxy. And you know where you can find it? corkdiscovers.org.
In an exciting collaboration between Cork City Council, the Cork Institute of Technology, and a private benefactor, Blackrock Castle was reopened to the public in November 2007 as CIT Blackrock Castle Observatory, the space for science. At BCO, their mission is to promote science, engineering and technology in Ireland as a centre of excellence in scientific research, education and outreach. As partners in Cork Discovers 2020, CIT Blackrock Castle Observatory have put together a series of videos to help you discover more about space. Begin by joining Francis and Rob as they show us how to make our own solar system. Using some string or anything you have, we can discover where the planets are positioned in relation to each other.
There's a lot of empty space at that other end.
That's why it's called space.
And using some fruits or household items, you can discover the size of the planets in relation to each other. In another video, Rob gives a full demonstration of some of the top features of the incredible Stellarium software. Stellarium is a free open source planetarium for your computer. It shows a realistic sky in 3D, just like what you'd see with the naked eye, binoculars or a telescope. And after that, you can join Quiveen as he uses the software to explore what is happening in the sky above us on the evening of Cork Discovers. And finally, you may have seen this image in the national media recently. This was the winner of the Science Foundation Ireland's Research Image of the Year 2020. And it was created by a team studying the effectiveness of mask materials. You can watch this full conversation as well as all of the other videos over at corkdiscovers.org.
Oh my God, I can't wait until 5 p.m. now this evening, because I know exactly now how to look for the planets.
It's class, isn't it?
It's class.
Brilliant.
Oh my God, I wonder, is it too late to add a telescope to my Christmas wish list?
Santi!
Or Mairead, you could just get it for me. We'll talk. We'll talk.
Yeah, okay.
Keep dreaming?
Yeah.
Make sure you follow us, guys, on social media. We got to tell you again, you will find us on Facebook at Cork Discovers. On Twitter, we are at Cork Discovers. And on Insta, we are Cork_Discovers.
I like it.
And if you do post, don't forget to hashtag Cork Discovers and hashtag European Researchers Night.
Now, Tig, we're going to hear, from Professor Alan Kelly. He's going to tell us all about the complexity of milk. And you know what? It really does make it magic.
Many Many of us add milk to our cereal, spread butter on our bread, and enjoy a tasty toasted cheese sandwich. But most of us probably haven't considered the science behind these simple yet very complex products. Luckily, Professor Alan Kelly has dedicated the past 30 years to understanding more about milk so that all of us can understand it better too.
My family and friends would have found it a very funny idea that I ended up studying milk because I grew up in the north side of Dublin, very far from any farms or any contact with cows. But I guess what I've been interested in is biological systems and how they work and how they transform into things. And one of the most complex and fascinating biological systems I became aware of early on in my scientific kind of learning was about milk. And I just became fascinated with the idea that there's so many different constituents, that the complexity of milk is really challenging and stimulating for somebody who's like me, who's really interested and hooked on the idea of science. And I was understanding that link from something that was deeply scientific on the one hand to deeply familiar and commonplace on the other. And in particular, how things that have been an art, like making cheese or making butter, making yogurt for thousands and thousands of years, have now become really complex scientific activities. That just really attracted me, and that's why I was fascinated to study milk. And this is only a bit of a joke where you can always say, well, if the worst comes to the worst, you can eat your experiment.
Check out Alan's full talk on the magic of milk at corkdiscovers.org, where he explains how milk is like Lego, why milk is white, and he shows us how easy it is to turn milk into butter, as well as how cheese depends on art as much as science. Visit corkdiscovers.org to discover more about your changing world.
Get off, shake it off, shake off, shake it off.
Great, that was class. Now, let's see if we can make some cream here in the studio, because I don't know if you know this, but there's actually a few scones knocking around.
Oh, yeah. Really?
And I like a bit of jam and cream, so...
Shake, shake,
Whoa!
Shake. Careful.
Yeah, no, that's falling apart. I'm going to leave that to you.
Sound. So, we're actually going to move on, Tyke, because...
Yeah, let's move on.
I don't want to, we're going to move on from the magic of cow's milk to how we make infant formula for babies. It's a really fascinating process. Mind the carpet.
Hello, friends. Welcome to this virtual event, Cork Discovers 2020. Did you know almost all kinds of baby milk formula are made from cow's milk? Have you ever wondered how food companies do it? Let's find out today. Regular cow's milk is not suitable for babies under the age of 1. So, food scientists helped to solve this problem. They apply science to the cow's milk and make new ingredients from it, which are suitable for adding to the baby milk formula. Here is how it happens. Everything starts at a dairy farm. Cow milk is collected at a dairy farm and sent to a cheese-making factory. In the factory, the cow milk is mixed with food enzymes. These enzymes separate milk into 2 parts. Solid mass, which is used by the dairy factory to make different kinds of cheese, and liquid part, which contains whey proteins. These whey proteins are easily digestible and are used as ingredients in the baby milk formula. To separate these whey proteins, the liquid part is sent through another gentle process. This process is called filtration, which uses a special type of filter. It is a process in which a mixture of molecules is passed through a filter, and they separate based on their size. The filter has holes, which decides what passes through them, and what's held back. Have a look at the size difference in molecules of a separated liquid. It contains big size whey proteins, and smaller size sugars and salts. Scientist uses a special filter, which has holes smaller than the size of the whey proteins. Because of this size difference, the filter decides to hold the bigger size whey proteins back and allow smaller molecules, like sugars and salts, to pass through it. The liquid, held back by the filter, now contains most of the whey proteins. This liquid is thick and concentrated, but it still contains water. To turn this thick liquid into powder, it is passed through a food dryer. In the food dryer, liquid droplets are exposed to hot air. Due to high heat exposure, the water in the liquid droplets turn into water vapors. These water vapors are collected separately, and what is left is powder. The powder is now mostly whey proteins, which is extracted from cow's milk. The food industry adds this powder as an ingredient in baby milk formula. Next time you go to your local supermarket, don't forget to pass through a baby aisle to find these whey proteins in the ingredient list of baby milk formula. Thank you for watching.
That's a little bit weird. Have you ever looked at a baby babbling away and thought to yourself, what are they on about?
Oh.
Dr. Ciara O'Toole is here to tell us about how and why babies learn to talk. It may sound like a bunch of goo-goos and gagas, but really, little babies are trying to tell us something with all that noise. Maybe after this, we'll be able to translate what our little brothers and sisters are saying.
Learning to talk is a fascinating skill that happens relatively quickly and easily for most children. There are two main aspects involved in how babies learn how to talk. Firstly, babies have to actively work out the language system. Even before they are born, babies are actively processing the language or languages around them and are born ready to talk. Babies are then known as the scientists in the crib, as they start to look for patterns in the language they hear and eventually learn to focus and interact with their parents about what is happening in their environment. They are also trying to communicate with us from birth. First, through their reflexive cries, smiles, looks, and facial expressions, and then through intentional gestures like reaching, the very important skill of pointing, and symbolic gestures like waving. They also start to make sounds and explore what their mouth can do. First, through cooing, making rude raspberry sounds, and eventually putting consonants and vowels together rhythmically in babbling. Around their first birthday comes their first true word. The second aspect that is involved in learning how to talk is the baby's experience with the world around them. This involves the daily interactions with their caregivers that help them to work out the language code. Adults talk to babies in a particular way known as parentese or child-directed speech. It involves a high pitch and many different prosodic contours, which make it interesting for the baby. We repeat simple words, use short sentences, and pause to wait for the child to respond. Think of it as tennis. I serve, you return. And we now know that this back and forth interaction, talking with a baby as opposed to at a baby, lays the important neurological foundations for language development. Here at the Department of Speech and Hearing Sciences in UCC, we study how babies learn language and how adults develop language. We also study what happens when language is impaired.
Tiger, aren't babies just so cute?
I like babies.
You know, the goo-goo, the gagging. I meant to compliment you. You did really well saying that. Well done. I want to remind everyone at home, all these videos and much more, they're on the website. It's Cork Discovers.
.org.
So be sure you tell your teachers on Monday morning about the website. There's lots of resources and plenty of things for all of you to learn. Now, next up, let's hit the great outdoors with Linda Line, who's working as a researcher with the Live Eco Museum Group.
Yes.
LIVE is an exciting ecological and geological research project taking place in the Iveragh Peninsula in Ireland and the Clin Peninsula in Wales. Want to know what our team of knowledge gatherers are up to? Well, let's take a look.
Hey guys, my name's Linda Line. I studied zoology at UCC and now I work as a wildlife researcher as part of the Live Eco Museum group. My role will be to look at all sorts of wildlife on the Iveragh Peninsula, from birds to my favourite, the common lizard, in places like this.
Hi everyone, my name is Fiach and I'll be working as a knowledge gatherer on the LIVE project. In the past, I've studied animals of all shapes and sizes, such as the very small bumblebee, as well as the much larger griffon vulture. In my current role, I'll be researching the red-billed chough, a member of the crow family that can be found in coastal areas of Ireland. It can be identified from its very characteristic red legs and red beak.
Hi, I'm Soli, and I like maps, but not just any kind of map. My job is to find out what people think and how they feel about the nature around us. So for example, I might ask, where do you think nature benefits people? And then I'd get some answers, crunch some numbers, and make maps like this, or this. We can then use these maps to make better decisions for people and for nature.
Hi everyone, my name is Ben Porter and I'm a bit obsessed with wildlife. I spend most of my time either studying or photographing plants, animals, birds, insects, everything in the natural world. And I'm particularly interested in seabirds, which nest on offshore islands and spend most of their lives out at sea. For the LIVE project, I'm going to be looking at developing a series of nature trails here on the Llyn Peninsula in North Wales to try and engage people with the wildlife on their doorstep.
Hello, my name's Anna. I studied art science in college, and as part of the LIVE project, I'm working to tell the story of the natural history of Blanche Island. It's a story which starts long before humans and involves mountains, rivers, volcanoes and ice. What's particularly special about Blanche Island is that it preserves fossilised tetrapod footprints. Tetrapods were the first animals to move from the sea and walk on land, and so played a key role in evolution.
Tell you one thing, Mairead. First of all, what do you think of my bird noises?
They're really good, Tyke. Have you been practicing?
I've been trained actually by a bird.
Wow.
I'll tell you one thing, I am definitely going to Valentia Island down in Kerry. Did you hear them say that there are fossilised tetrapod footprints? The first animals to move from the sea and walk on land.
Okay, that's epic. They also have lovely scones. Do you know where we're going next, Tyke, actually, before I forget?
Where?
Fota.
I love Fota.
We're going down to visit our friends, because I love Fota too.
Yes!
I often wonder, like, over lockdown, did all the animals miss the kids? And, vice versa, of course, like, you'd be thinking. And I can't wait to get back down there again. I love it so much. Like, it's class and it's only down the road. So I want to give a big shout out to all of the amazing people who work in Fota. You do an incredible job.
Cork Discovers teamed up with Fota to learn more about the animals in the wildlife park. In this video, you'll hear from Linda, Donal and Rachel, who talk about some well-known woodland creatures.
So who can we spot here? This is a red squirrel. It's one of about 52 that actually live within Fota Wildlife Park at the present moment. So what's it like for the red squirrel to live in the park? What does it do here and what does it feed on? It lives high up in a variety of trees here in the wildlife park, in a nest known as a dray. Normally they live in their drays on their own. During the winter period, to help them to stay warm, they might actually decide to share their dray with perhaps one or two other red squirrels in the area as well. The little red squirrel is known as a granivore, and what that means is that he feeds mainly on seeds from different trees, even ones that you'll see here, like the pine cone, for example. Of course, if food comes into short supply, it might decide to change its mind. It could feed on things like fungi. It'll feed on buds and shoots of different plant species within it. But its preference certainly is for seeds more than anything else here. Males are known as boars and female red squirrels are actually known as sows. The babies are known as kits or kittens. You can see from them that they have a thick coat, very important to keep them warm during the winter months. A very long bushy tail, which is a balancing aid for them. Sharp claws, very, very important for climbing as well. And during the winter months, they don't actually hibernate like a lot of people would assume. In actual fact, they go into what we call torpor. And torpor is just a short period of inactivity. So they may decide that when the weather gets very, very cold, that they may decide to actually stay in their drays or nests for 2 or 3 days at a time with the aim of actually saving energy. So in winter, the red squirrel has to have a backup plan. And what it decides to do in actual fact is that in the months prior to winter, it gathers much food. It spends about 75 to 90% of its time foraging for food. And it decides then to store it in what we call a midden. So a midden is almost its outdoor refrigerator. Right throughout the winter period, it'll go back and forth, depending on the weather, to actually feed from that refrigerator as well. So a very, very unique behaviour.
Donal here from Photo's education team to tell you a little bit about badgers. Badgers are an omnivorous nocturnal mammal, and they are easily recognized by the striking black and white stripes on their face. Omnivores are animals who can eat both plant and animal material, which is an advantage to badgers because they're able to switch their diet at certain parts of year, depending on what's available to them. So for example, in the winter, when certain things like insects might start to die off, given the cold and harsh conditions, they can switch their diet onto something like the arrows from a yew tree or other berries such as holly and ivy that they can find in their habitat. That said, at most parts of the year, badgers can feed on up to 200 earthworms in a single night, and they usually make up about 60% of their diet. Nocturnal animals are those who only come out at night. So to adapt to that, badgers need to be able to find their way around in the dark. They don't have particularly good eyesight, but they do have a super sense of smell, which is an advantage to an animal that spends a lot of its life underground as well. So badgers live in underground tunnel systems called sets, which can run for up to 300 meters, can have up to 40 openings, and can home as many as 15 badgers in a single set.
The red fox is a very, very familiar animal to most people, easily recognisable by its red fur and long bushy tail. It's a very successful member of the dog or canid family. Red foxes are found in a variety of habitats all around the island of Ireland. They're found in woodlands, grasslands, mountain areas, and nowadays have even found their homes in our towns and cities. They are omnivores, and as Donal mentioned, omnivores are animals that eat plant and animal material. In this woodland, foxes sit at the top of the food chain. They feed on animals like rats, mice, rabbits, and even birds. They'll forage amongst vegetation for earthworms, beetles, and insect larvae, and occasionally will ingest berries and fruit as well. As a predator, they have specific adaptations in order for them to hunt and catch the food that I've mentioned previously. They have eyes at the front of their head. This for judging distance. They can work out how far away the prey is before they make the run for the kill. As mentioned, small mammals play a big role in the diet of the red fox, and they're highly adapted to be able to locate these small mammals within this habitat. They have an amazing sense of hearing. A red fox can hear the squeak of a mouse from 25 meters away. A group of red foxes is known as a skulk. The mum or female is called a vixen, the dad or male is called a dog fox, and the young foxes are known as cubs. So foxes may not always be welcome in certain habitats. Being a predator, they may occasionally be seen as a threat. However, they have a very important job in this woodland. Being a predator, their job is to keep the number of small mammals like rabbits or rats under control.
Visit corkdiscovers.org to view the full version of this talk and another one on giraffes.
Who's your favourite, Mairead, the squirrels or the foxes?
I'd probably go for the squirrels.
The squirrels? Yeah, they're very cute, aren't they?
What are you fishing for?
Compliments.
I'll fish for a few likes. So
I'm going to put these back. Just, please fish responsibly, guys. Now, staying in the great outdoors, we are going to hear from Irene in the School of Bees, no less, who is taking kick samples from freshwater riverbeds to see how clean the water is.
Researchers in the School of Biological Earth and Environmental Science study freshwater rivers and lakes to determine the health of the water and check if it's been polluted. All the life in the river is connected, and everything starts with what's living in the riverbed. Here you see Irene, a researcher at the School of Bees, kick sampling. This is used to look at the macroinvertebrate life of the river. Macroinvertebrates are tiny creatures, often insects. that burrow into the riverbed and can tell us a lot about how clean the water is. These creatures are at the base of the food chain, so anything that affects them will affect any of the animals that rely on them for food, as well as any other animals that rely on the river for drinking. To kick sample, we take an aquatic net, hold it downstream of our body with the net resting on the riverbed, and we gently turn over any stones or rocks so the macroinvertebrates will be carried by the flow of water into the net. We can then place our sample into a white tray to look at what we've caught. The species that we find can give us a lot of information about how polluted the river is and can act as an early warning system for pollution events. Certain species are sensitive to bad water quality and won't be there if the quality is too poor. On the other hand, some species can tolerate very challenging conditions. So, if we see an abundance of these species, then we must take a look to see if there's a reason for it. That is the first step towards fixing the problem.
Teig, when I think of yeast, I think of one thing, and one thing only: sourdough bread.
Yum.
And I have to say, I did take to the bread making during lockdown. But scientists at UCC are working on new ways to use yeast. So they say we can use yeast like a tiny factory to create things like sugar. Now, if this is true, we're laughing. Bread and sugar from one tiny factory. Yes, please.
Oh, yum.
Yeast is traditionally known for its use in the production of bread and alcohol. However, this versatile microorganism is capable of so much more. Yeast cells can be thought of as mini factories. When fed with nutrients such as sugar and programmed in a certain way, they produce valuable products in return. Researchers in the EU-funded project Chassis are finding innovative ways of using yeast in new methods of production that are more sustainable and less environmentally damaging than current methods. To learn more about the transformative power of yeast, watch Chassis researcher Noemi Montini demonstrate the basic principles of the yeast cell factory through a discovery experiment. In the video, you will learn how to immobilize yeast cells and use them to convert sucrose into glucose and fructose. Visit corkdiscovers.org to watch the full video, and for more information about the Chassis project, visit www.chassis.eu.
Now, Mairead, did you know that a member of our team just described the great tradition of hurling and camogie as stick fighting? She will remain nameless. She will be spoken to afterwards. One question that our researchers were asked was, where does camogie come from? Do you know this, Mairead?
Yeah, go on.
Did you know that the GAA was founded in 1884, but the Camogie Association wasn't founded until 1904?
What?
Because not everyone was happy about women playing sports back then.
Boo.
Boo! We all know that's crazy.
Very much
At least we still have the Cork Camogie and football team to cheer on in this year's All-Ireland.
Woohoo!
On the girls!
a buníag a 1904. Bhí me ná gimmert amán a ribhe sin, ach níor bhain an agriocht ná do rialacha an chluthe, go dtí gur tháinig marní chinnéide agus cáitní chun na chúla chéile le cabhar de thárcháit tórna. Bhí an túir seo sáite a gréibh chéitnig de chud conar na Gaeilge. San léhananta tosaigh bhí an Ghaeilge anna lárnach sa chomógaíocht. Heasta gotha go meach deisig me ná spórta immert ina meach an éanúlacht Ghaeilge á cothú agus á curchan cín. Ní raibh go chéine I bhábhar an spórt seo do bhaná, agus bachóran misneach a bhí ag na céad imreoirí a aithint.
Do you know what Tyke up the Rebels is right. And we want to say best of luck to all the teams still competing in this year's championship. You know what? The Camogies are on today, so best of luck, ladies.
Up the Rebels!
Up the Rebels! Now, staying with Cork, we're now going to hear from one of Cork's famous sons, Stevie G, who does a lot of work with the Cork Migrant Centres.
Hey everybody, Stevie G here representing Cork Migrant Centre in Nanonagel Place. Last year our youngsters were dancing up in UCC. It's so different in 2020, but look, we've kept it going really. We're empowering youth through music, art, dance. You'll see clips here of Maria, one of our students who's teaching the younger ones again. We can't go down there at the moment, but she's down in Direct Provision Centre in Mill Street teaching the youngsters her own choreography and dance. This is what it's all about. This is what we're all about. We have done multiple projects this year. We're continuing to do loads of them online. We are doing singing, rapping, writing workshops. We're doing Teen Turn. We've got Fanula now. We did a webinar for BLM. We did artwork for that in Nanonagel Place with Kate O'Shea, who also helped us with My Generation and the Glucksman. We're also working with Shane O'Driscoll. Our art, as part of My Generation, is on the front of the City Library at the moment. It's in Curls Quay. It's in Nanonagel Place. It's everywhere, and we are so proud of our youngsters. We've got so much more to offer. Maria is doing some fantastic teaching. Rem, one of our visual artists, put together the video, so shout outs to her as well. But shout outs to all of them. We're working with Mallow, with Macroom, with Mill Street, with Kinsale Accommodation Centre, and with Cork City Centre itself, with different groups like the CY Artivists of Creativity and Change, with the Glucksman, and with many more. And we're proud that we're showcasing a little bit of it today with Cork Discovers.
That was absolutely class. Nice one, Stevie. Throughout this year, guys, you might have seen things online and in the news about Black Lives Matter. These messages were started in the US as a response to the poor treatment of people of colour by some people in their communities. Systematic racism has been a part of American culture for a long time, but whenever there are struggles, there are people willing to stand up for what's right. This year, Ireland is celebrating a very special visit from Frederick Douglass 175 years ago. Let's learn more.
"175 years ago, between August and November 1845, Frederick Douglass travelled to Ireland for a 4-month visit. He came here to seek refuge from slave catchers and support for the abolitionist cause. The famous orator, writer, and fugitive slave from America was received with great enthusiasm by large crowds and was inspired by Daniel O'Connell, Father Matthew, and others to widen his purpose and champion the cause of human rights around the world. Douglass lectured throughout Ireland, travelling from Dublin through Wexford, Waterford, Cork, Limerick, and Belfast before continuing his tour in Britain and eventually returning to the US. Although we face different challenges in 2020, we hear echoes of those that Douglass encountered during his life in the United States and on his travels across the Atlantic. Oppression, systematic racism, human trafficking, attacks on civil rights, discrimination based on skin color, the scourge of white supremacy. Douglass himself was intimately acquainted with these topics as he considered the commonalities and contrasts in his struggles and those faced by his audiences. All 6 cities that Douglass spoke in will host extensive commemorations throughout Douglass Week. The All Ireland event series exploring the footprints Douglass left in Ireland and his relevance today will feature live events, creative installations, and critical discussion with responses from university students and staff, researchers, writers, artists, and community groups. Commemorating Douglass, the father of the civil rights movement in America, with a historical connection to Ireland, is a powerful endorsement of the tolerance and multiculturalism that is such a strength of the Irish community. By combining creative expression with academic reflection, we hope these efforts foster exciting new connections around the island and between Ireland and the US. We invite you to celebrate Douglas and everything he stands for with us. Join us for Douglas Week in February 2021.
Now, staying with the cultural and historic links between Ireland and America, we're next going to hear about a project here in Cork that looks at the infamous beats and gems of hip-hop.
Are we hip-hopping?
I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I will check. Hip-hop began in America. It was in a place called the South Bronx and was a way for communities in these areas to share and celebrate their culture. Nowadays, hip-hop is a really famous type of music. Its influence can be found all over the globe, even here in Ireland. Oxquilga.
Fires in my eyes and the flames need fanning with that word. Knowledge itself. Determination with that word. Knowledge itself. Determination with that word. Knowledge itself. Determination with that word. Knowledge itself. Determination.
Shula Marangosan in a will aus my car. Cactisation gave a Sarak Arak no 4. Rocky make a scopy lesson like more or. Hectaget lematuris should draw on Balak more. Nora Arimas ma tukas Saruga May. Shafna don't farga custos Vusko se may. Na artima inchin a lawn le flay. Le meet in a heart a new ambassador May. Tascalan Simuloga Montamata heart. Gaffa Ega now at Niwa Cata la wart. On go to more Tribidi and Tiger Kiltuck. La new Isha Gata under the whole Baker Mock. In Rollium Mer no sundown. Es copy na tactoric mer on Balia la own. Osco de Cruz Bayon Fagra own. No Kurda Kashina Agni Yoktan ground. Kurda Kashina Agni Yoktan ground. Kurda Kashina Agni Yoktan ground.
Cypher Hip Hop Interpolation is a research initiative that's mapping hip hop knowledge flows all across the globe, working with artists and communities both on the ground and online.
At the center of this project is the idea of hip-hop gems, and this is where we need your help.
Every hip-hop head has a collection of favorite gems of knowledge. These might be your favorite lyrics or beats, the most dope dance moves or scratch patterns.
But what they have in common is that they encode bits of hip-hop wisdom.
From spiritual truths to local essences or life mottos, hip-hop has a way of refining universal truths down to these particular gems.
And what makes these gems special is that they spoke to us specifically.
Something about those beats, rhymes, images, and moves resonated with us where we are at.
We all know hip-hop started in the South Bronx, but what Cypher looks to figure out is how hip-hop's vital force, its fifth element, knowledge, spreads everywhere under the sun, from bricks to Kingston.
Ismisha Maraid, Teagasc Anam Do, Tá Mead, Gurkig, Inaka, Le Banya, August Uachtaráise, August Cúpla Focal on Squilga, Ní Lissagum, on Doris, on Buchel.
All right, Mairead, I think it needs a little work, but...
Sure, look, effort goes a long way.
X factor, like. All right, lads, I thought we would ask researchers about the work they do to make sure that the food we eat is clean and free from any nasty bugs.
Lovely.
Jack is here to tell us about Listeria, a foodborne bug that can develop on some refrigerated foods. I had no idea about any of this stuff. Now, I wouldn't usually say no to some cheese, like a nice cheese pizza now or something, but...
Nice one.
After this video, I'm definitely going to listen to Jack.
I'm Jack Daly, a PhD researcher in University College Cork. And my research focuses on the foodborne pathogen Listeria monocytogenes. Now, when some people consume Listeria, they might develop the disease listeriosis. Now, listeriosis can vary from mild to much more severe symptoms, resulting in things like sepsis, meningitis, and ultimately death. Now, in 2018, one of the world's worst outbreaks of listeriosis occurred in South Africa, where a contaminated food processing plant resulted in over 1,000 cases and over 200 deaths. Now, listeria is quite a tough bug, and it's able to withstand environmental stresses that would usually be too much for most other bacteria. One of these stresses is low temperatures commonly found in refrigeration. Most bacteria halt growth under refrigeration. Listeria keeps on going. So that means that ready-to-eat foods that don't require cooking have long fridge shelf lives pose a particular risk. Now, these include foods like smoked salmon, pate, salamis, ham, cheeses, coleslaw and prepared salads. I actually have a few prepared earlier, and where's the plate?
What plate?
The plate, the food I just mentioned.
I ate that.
You ate all that?
There's still some left.
That was so some left. There's like 2 measly bits of cheese. I'm not using 2 measly bits of cheese.
Is that not enough?
No, it's not. Here's some cheese I prepared earlier. Now, manufacturers and processors are obliged to constantly test for the presence of bacteria like listeria, and for good reason. Due to the high levels of stress that listeria can withstand, it can actually exist for up to 10 years in a food plant if left untreated. Now, these 2 bits of cheese look identical, but I've actually coated one of them in listeria. Now, what we must
Why
realise...
did you do that?
For science. Now, when listeria is found, all the products must be recalled and destroyed. Now, considering the fatality of listeriosis, this is pretty reasonable, but it's not that simple. Now, not all Listeria monocytogenes is actually fully virulent, and by that I mean capable of infecting and damaging the host. Now, this results in large amounts of food being unjustly destroyed. Now, first let's look at how Listeria is generally detected. Now, traditionally, what we have is... Have you been eating the cheese?
Yeah.
I told you that one of them has Listeria.
Only one of them does.
Yeah, well, like if you have one of the... You don't know which one is it.
It's a 50-50 chance.
Oh my god. Traditionally, samples are placed within a specific growth media in which only Listeria will grow under optimum conditions. Now, if Listeria is found, then the amount of Listeria must be quantified as very small amounts are allowed due to low risk of infection. Now, while this process can take days, faster methods of detection are now available. But these tests only detect the presence of Listeria monocytogenes and are unable to differentiate between the types of Listeria and therefore the virulence. We are aiming to create a rapid test which can quickly identify the type of Listeria monocytogenes present and whether or not it is virulent. This rapid screen could save massive amounts of food from being unjustly destroyed every year. Now, if you have any other queries, please feel free to contact me.
I feel really...
You are 100% going to die. 100% going to die.
Oh my god, Mairead, I was actually just about to tear into this.
I can see you, Tyke. Look at that.
Jack has turned me off cheese.
Yeah, kind of turned me off it too.
Cheese dreams over.
You know what, Tyke?
What?
It's time.
What?
And that, my friends, is a wrap.
Oh, no.
We've had an absolutely amazing time here today, and we really hope that you've too. It's simply mind-blowing, learning about all the research that's going on. You're right here in Cork and beyond. We learned how milk is magical. So too is UCC campus. How to tell our future with the microbe, if our rivers are clean, and even how to bake in space. Don't forget, this is only a snapshot of all things research. There's so much more. It's on Cork Discovers.
.org. A big final thank you to everyone involved in this project. The EU for supporting us, UCC, CIT, Teagasc, UCC Academy, Cork City Council, Blackrock Castle, and the British Council Ireland. The biggest shout out though must go to all the researchers. Come on guys, without them, there would have been nothing to do today without them. Like myself and Ray just be chatting aimlessly.
How bad, I suppose.
Staring into space, maybe even eating cheese. We certainly wouldn't have been able to tell you all the amazing stories that we heard today. So, a big thank you to those guys. Now, don't forget to check out, one last time, corkdiscovers.org, as all the content you've seen today will be available there. Don't forget, there is a competition for families and schools to take part in until December 9th with fantastic prizes.